Hi, kiddos. You need to grab your progress book for our reading lesson today. When you get it, please open up to page 68. We are going to read The Power of Tsunamis. Yes, it starts with a T, but we don't pronounce that sound. We go right to the S, tsunamis. The genre is scientific text. Now, a scientific text is a fact-based article or report that typically uses technical language specific to scientific subjects. So you know as you're reading, there might be some words you've never heard before. So you're going to have to use the text around it to help figure out some of the meanings. Now, the purpose for learning the reading skill is you have to think about authors use events to explain scientific occurrences in informational texts in order to show readers how and why scientific events occur. So think to yourself, what natural events happen through a series of events? Well, if you think back to some of our earlier passages we read, there are earthquakes and also thunderstorms come to mind. So please follow along while I read. Powerful forces shape our planet's surface. Many of these forces come from deep in the ocean. Earthquakes, landslides, and even volcanoes occur most often in places where Earth's plates are moving. These events can have devastating results. Tsunamis are one possible effect of motion on the ocean floor. Now, if something is devastating, that means it's destructive. And tsunamis are large sea waves caused by underwater disturbances. So, if we look at cite evidence A, it says paragraph 1 introduces the main kind of event that this scientific text will explain. Put a box around the sentence that identifies that event. So I'm going to look for a sentence in paragraph 1 that describes a major event. I'm also going to look at the title of the text to help me identify the right sentence. The power of tsunamis. Well, I know that the main event is often the main idea. And I know one of my clues to find the main idea is to look in the last sentence. And here it talks about tsunamis. And that has to do with our title. So the sentence, tsunamis are one possible effect of motion on the ocean floor. That's the main kind of event. So let's box it. Okay, we're going down to paragraph 2. What is a tsunami? Have you ever stood on the beach and watched the waves come in from the ocean? If so, you have seen wind-generated waves. Generated means it caused something to happen, so the wind is causing these to happen. These waves are created when the wind pushes water across the surface of the ocean. Wind-generated waves occur in the ocean at an average rate of 1 every 10 seconds. In the United States, these waves usually are no more than 5 feet tall. so almost as tall as me. If we go down to the cite evidence B, it says understanding how and why events occur is an important part of reading a scientific text. Circle the sentence in paragraph 2 that tells how wind-generated waves form. All right, so everybody go back and look at paragraph 2. I'm looking for the sentence that describes how wind-generated waves are created. Which sentence do you see that describes the topic? Hopefully you picked the third sentence. These waves are created when the wind pushes water across the surface of the ocean. All right, paragraph 3. Tsunamis are giant waves. They are created by strong movements on the ocean floor. The word tsunami is a Japanese word that means harbor wave. Tsunamis can move much more quickly than wind-generated waves do. Excuse me. They can travel up to 550 miles per hour. That is greater than the speed of a jet airplane. That's almost impossible for me to imagine how fast. Tsunamis last longer too. They also reach far greater sizes than do wind-generated waves. So if we look down here at this illustration, it says tsunami waves grow as they approach the shore. So they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And here's the shore. All right, page 69. Paragraph 4. A tsunami builds in power and size as it approaches the shore. It can reach a height of 100 feet. Well, that would be like 20 of me all standing on top of each other. Flooding from a tsunami can go far inland. The size and power of a tsunami, therefore, can have serious consequences. The courageous people who live where tsunamis occur must keep aware of the ocean's movements. Okay, we're going to the section, earthquakes and tsunamis. One of the most common causes of a tsunami is an undersea earthquake. When plates collide with one another, they usually overlap. One plate dips lower. The other plate pushes up on top. This kind of collision can create an earthquake on land or at sea. When it happens at sea, the earthquake disturbs the water. The disruption can produce a very powerful wave. Paragraph 6. When a tsunami is still out at sea, it can move along without causing any alarm. Boats can sail right over a tsunami with very little disturbance. The real danger begins when the tsunami reaches land. The front of the tsunami slows down and the water traveling behind it builds up. This creates the giant wave. If we look here at the picture, this is showing us what happens under the water, and the tectonic plates are colliding. They're pushing together, and it creates an earthquake, which results in the tsunami. Let's look at cite evidence. When authors write about concepts and events in a scientific text, they often explain what happened and why. Underline the sentence in paragraph 4 that explains what happens as a tsunami goes toward a shore. All right, so let's look at paragraph 4. What happens? Oh, look right here in paragraph 1. A tsunami builds in power and size as it approaches the shore. So let's underline that sentence. So it becomes more powerful and larger. And then cite evidence D. Paragraph 5 explains why tsunamis form. Circle 2 events that are part of the process. Why are these events important? So let's go to paragraph 5. Details about a process help explain the most important events that occur. So I'm going to look for 2 of the most important details in paragraph 5. Which sentences contain these details? Take a minute, see if you can find it. Well, let's look at the second sentence. When plates collide with one another, they usually overlap. That's an event. And then let's look at the 5th sentence. When it happens at sea, the earthquake disturbs the water. That's another event. So, to summarize, you need to pay attention to the most important details in the text to find the main idea. All right, we're done for today. We're going to be using these books again tomorrow.